The last thing I remembered before blacking out was the burning red glow of my ship's alarm lights and the tearing scream of metal under pressure. The escape pod had launched before the reactor blew, flinging me into the cold blackness of space. When I opened my eyes again, there was no ceiling of steel above me, only pale light filtering through a canopy of silvery leaves. I was lying on soft, moss-like ground that glowed faintly beneath me. My helmet was gone, my suit torn, but I could breathe. That shouldn't have been possible. Something moved at the edge of my vision, tall, graceful, with skin like soft blue marble and hair that shimmered like liquid silver. Her eyes. Her eyes were luminous, 2 galaxies trapped in flesh. She watched me with an expression I couldn't read. Curiosity. Concern. When she spoke, her voice was melodic and calm, like it was designed to soothe a wounded mind. "You are awake, human." I sat up slowly, my head pounding. "Where am I?" She tilted her head slightly, her gaze never leaving mine. "You are on Kaylee's 4. You fell from the void. I found you near the northern ridge." I scanned her face, trying to understand. "You saved me." "Yes," she said simply before turning away. "You were broken. I fixed what I could." My hands went to my chest. My ribs were wrapped in some kind of shimmering fabric that pulsed faintly with light. It wasn't metal. It wasn't fabric either. It was alive. "Who are you?" managed. She hesitated before answering. "My name is Asura." Asura. The name felt oddly comforting. Part 1. The silence between worlds. Milky Way. Days passed, or what I thought were days. Kaylee's Ivy's sun was pale and distant, barely shifting in the sky. Asura lived in what looked like a bioorganic shelter. Her tent was woven from vines that breathed faintly, reacting to her touch. She moved with purpose, wordless most of the time. Whenever I tried to thank her, she only nodded or changed the subject. But every night before resting, she'd light a small orb that floated in the air, casting a gentle blue glow through the tent. Then she'd glance at me, just for a moment, before sitting across the room and closing her eyes in meditation. I didn't know how to feel about it. She didn't look hostile, but something in her calmness was unnerving. It was like she could see right through me, beyond flesh, beyond thought. On the 5th night I couldn't sleep. I kept watching her silhouette in the dim light, her breathing steady, her eyes closed. I wondered if she ever slept, or if she was just pretending for my sake. And then exhaustion took me. I dreamt of Earth, of the ocean I hadn't seen in years. I dreamt of voices, of laughter, of faces long gone. But among them I saw hers. Asura. Her silver hair glowing under starlight. And she was looking at me not with curiosity, but with something else. Something deeper. When I woke up, she was sitting next to me, watching. Her expression was unreadable, but her gaze lingered. "What is it?" I asked groggily. "You were speaking," she said softly. "Speaking." I rubbed my eyes. "In my sleep." "Yes." Her voice was quiet. "You said my name." Froze. Did I?" She nodded. "And then you said something else." My throat went dry. "What did I say?" Her eyes softened. "You said, 'Don't leave.'" The tent was silent except for the faint hum of the vines. I didn't know what to say. I barely knew her. Asura looked away, her hands trembling slightly. Why would a human dream of someone not his own kind? I don't know, I admitted. Maybe because you're the only person I've seen since my ship went down. Maybe because you saved my life. Her gaze returned to mine. Or maybe, she said softly, because something inside you recognizes me. Before I could respond, she rose and left the tent. Part 2. The past beneath the surface fire. The next day Asura avoided me. She left early and returned late, carrying strange crystals that glowed faintly in her satchel. When I asked what they were for, she said, "The barrier weakens. I must repair it." "What barrier?" I asked. She didn't answer. That night I followed her. Through the silvery forest, the ground pulsing softly with each step, until she reached a cliff overlooking a vast crater. Inside the crater shimmered a field of blue energy, like the surface of a lake made of light. Asura stood at its edge, placing the crystals into grooves along its border. The energy flared, revealing flashes, ships, weapons, fire, and humans. Then I realized the barrier wasn't protecting us. It was hiding something. I stepped forward. "What is this?" She turned sharply, her eyes glowing faintly. "You should not be here. What are you hiding?" "This place is not for your kind," she said, voice trembling. "You would destroy what you do not understand." "Then help me understand," I said, taking another step closer. Her gaze softened. "The barrier keeps the memories of war away. My people fought yours once. We were enemies. I am one of the last who remembers." Hit me like a punch to the chest. "You mean, humans fought the Kalins?" She nodded. "And won. Your kind destroyed our cities, burned our skies. I was a soldier once. Now I keep the last remnants hidden, so that history cannot repeat itself." The air between us thickened with silence. I didn't know what to say. I looked into her eyes and for the first time saw not power or mystery, but pain. Part 3. The Confession Crescent Moon. That night, back at the tent, Asura didn't speak. Neither did I. The silence between us had changed. It wasn't empty anymore. It was heavy, filled with everything unsaid. When I finally drifted to sleep, I dreamt again. Only this time I wasn't on Earth or in the stars. I was standing beside her, watching her fight, bleeding, screaming, her world collapsing in fire. And then she turned toward me. "Why do you keep coming back to me, human?" she asked in the dream. When I woke up, she was there again, watching me. Her hand was hovering just above mine, not touching but close enough that I could feel the warmth. "I saw what you dreamt," she whispered. "I felt it too. You were in my head." She nodded faintly. "Kalins can sense emotional echoes. When a bond forms, we share the subconscious." "Bond." I swallowed hard. "What does that mean?" She hesitated. "It means your heart called to mine." Her eyes met mine, and for a moment time stopped. "You said something else tonight," she whispered. "You said, 'I understand now.'" I didn't remember saying it, but somehow it felt true. Asura exhaled softly. "You asked before why I saved you. I thought it was duty. Perhaps it was destiny." Before I could answer, the tent suddenly trembled, a deep rumble echoing across the valley. She stood instantly, her expression changing. "They found us," she said sharply. Part 4. Fire in the sky. High voltage. Through the canopy, red streaks tore across the sky. Human ships. Military class. The ones I used to serve on. "They're scanning the surface," I said, my stomach dropping. "They think I'm dead." "Then they must not see this place," she said, rushing to the cliff. "If they find the barrier, they'll destroy it," I finished. Asura turned to me, eyes fierce. "I will not let that happen again." She extended her hand, a sphere of light forming in her palm. "Go. Hide." I shook my head. "No, I'm not running this time." She hesitated. "You would fight your own kind." I looked at the approaching ships, their engines burning like miniature suns. "For once, I'll fight for something that deserves saving."